episode 8 of Bare Bears, the podcast where I talk about my body image issues, mental health, and my weight loss or gain. I'm your host, Bear, and today I want to talk to you about a subject that it's so serious, yet it often gets less attention than it deserves. Men's mental health, particularly within the gay male community. So grab a drink, get comfy, and we'll begin. Now you can probably tell, compared to the tone of my voice, that I'm feeling a lot better compared to the last episode. I'm a bit more upbeat. The sickness I had has practically passed, although I do still feel a bit icky. But on the whole, I am good. I should also warn you that the dog you heard in the last podcast is still here and may require my attention once again. So, mental health. I know talking about feelings isn't exactly a favourite pastime, and as gay men, we'd rather discuss music or pride celebrations or even RuPaul's Drag Race. And a disclaimer before we go any further, I cannot abide Drag Race. We'd rather talk about anything than our mental health, because talking about mental health is uncomfortable, but it's important. It's like life or death important. And before you roll your eyes and skip to the next podcast about the latest Marvel movie theories or Kylie's new album, hear me out. This is a conversation we need to have, and it might just save a life. And that could be yours or someone close to you. So first off, let's hit you with some cold, hard facts. According to research, men die by suicide nearly 4 times more often than women. And that's not because women don't have mental health issues. Of course they do. It's because we're less likely to seek help. We bottle it up, thinking we can handle it on our own. Well, we can't. And for gay men, the statistics are more alarming. Studies have shown that LGBTI plus individuals are more than twice as likely to experience a mental health condition compared to their straight counterparts. And here's a gut-wrenching fact. Gay and bisexual men are more likely to attempt suicide, particularly when struggling with their identity and coming out. This isn't just a statistic. This is a call to action. So why do we suck at taking care of our mental health? Well, I don't know about you, but I grew up in a house and a society where from a young age, we were told to man up, to be strong, to not show weakness. Crying, well, that's for wimps. Talking about your feelings? Nope, leave that to the ladies. We were taught to be stoic, unbreakable rocks in our families and friendships. But even rocks erode over time. Now, when we add another layer to this, the layer of being gay, society's message becomes even more goddamn convoluted. We're often told we're not man enough because of our sexuality. And for some, the pressure of trying to conform to traditional masculinity can be suffocating. And yes, I know what you're going to say. There are some very masculine gay men. And let's thank Dorothy for that. But even if those men who can walk down the street without having to check themselves in case they're mincing or being too camp. Oh, there's me trying to be serious, and Maya goes and gets the ball. I shall be right back. And I'm back. So where was I? What was I talking about? I was talking about masculinity and men being masculine. And yes, as I said, there are some very masculine gay men out there, and I thank the Lord every day that they are there. But even for those men who can walk around without having to think, are they mincing or are they being too camp? Well, even they have to struggle with dealing with their secret identity that is their sexuality. It's like being stuck between a rock and a hard place with no room to just be yourself. So we ignore it. Because it'll go away, right? Wrong. Ignoring your mental health is like ignoring the check engine light on your car. Yes, you can keep driving for a while, but eventually you're going to end up on the side of the road with the bonnet up and smoke everywhere. And mental health breakdowns aren't as easy to fix as an overheated engine. Depression, anxiety, stress can lead to serious consequences: job losses, broken relationships, substance abuse, and in the worst case, suicide. Let's take a real world example: Alexander McQueen. Here's a guy who seemed to have it all: fame, fortune, a huge circle of friends, a job that took him around the world, meeting some amazing people. And yet he took his own life. If someone like that, who has all that in front of him and appeared to be living the dream, still struggled with his mental health, then what makes you think you're immune? And let me give you another real world example, but I'm going to get personal. Years ago, far too long ago, in my early 20s, I hit a wall. Life was stressful, my relationship was falling apart, I was failing at college, and I felt like I was drowning. Things were shit. But did I talk to anyone? No, I did not. I slapped on a smile and pretended that everything was fine. And it wasn't until I was sitting in my car, uncontrollably sobbing, that I realised I couldn't do this alone. So what did I do? Well, I wiped the snot off my face and replaced it with yet another fake smile, and I carried on regardless, because I thought I could do anything. I thought I had to hide these things. The hard lesson, as well as the help, came when a friend came to visit while I was in the middle of writing a suicide note. He saw it because it was blindingly obvious what it was, laying there on the table whilst I was making him coffee. And he stayed with me. He stayed with me all through the night, all through the next day, and all through the next night. And come the following morning, he convinced me to go and see a therapist. And this was the best decision I ever made, because therapy didn't make my problems disappear, but it gave me the tools to handle them. It gave me someone to talk to, who I could tell them what was going on and what was going on in my head. It was another voice who could bring some clarity to my thoughts, clarity that I couldn't obtain, no matter how hard I tried. Now imagine if I'd kept going on my original path. The best case scenario? Well, I'd have probably been an even bigger mess, with a trail of ruined relationships and maybe even a drinking problem. Worst case scenario? Well, you know where that was going. Let's talk about coming out. For many gay men, this is one of the most stressful and emotional experiences of our lives. The fear of rejection and discrimination, and even the fear of violence, can be overwhelming. It's no wonder that studies show that gay men are more likely to self-harm and attempt suicide during this period. The Trevor Project reports that LGBTI plus youth seriously contemplate suicide at almost 3 times the rate of their straight friends. And this process of coming out isn't just a one-time event. It's something we do all the time. Every new job, every new friendship, every family gathering can bring a new set of anxieties. And this constant stress takes a toll on our mental health, leading to higher rates of depression and anxiety. Now, you might be thinking, Bear, why should I care? I'm doing fine. But here's the thing. Firstly, mental health isn't just about you. It's about the people around you, your family, your friends, your co-workers. When you're in a dark place, it affects everyone in your orbit. By taking care of yourself, you're also taking care of them. Think about it like this. If you're on a plane and it's going down, they'll always tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first before helping others. Why? Because you're no good 21 if you've passed out. Same goes for your mental health. You can't be the best partner, parent, friend, co-worker, whatever, if you're not looking after your own mental well-being. Secondly, you're doing great right now? Well, good for you. I am pleased, and I genuinely mean that. Is it going to stay that way? You can't answer that question. I can't answer that question. No one can. No one can guarantee that. Looking after yourself and practicing mindfulness can help should you ever need it. So let's talk about excuses, because I've used them all and I've heard them all. I don't have the time. Therapy's too expensive. I don't need the help. I can handle it. Do they sound familiar? They're the kind of things you would have heard before from people as well. And maybe you've even said them. So you don't have the time. Honey, you have the time to binge watch Netflix and scroll through social media and argue with strangers on the internet about the Eurovision. You have the time. So you think therapy is too expensive? Well, it can be costly, but there are affordable options. Many therapists offer sliding scales. There are online services that can be really budget friendly, and there are even free helpline and free online support groups who will listen. But think of it this way. Think about the cost of not getting help. Losing jobs, losing friends, losing relationships. They end up way more expensive in the long run. And the other excuse, I don't need help, I can handle it. Well, this is one of my favourites. Of course you can. Good for you. I said that. Trust me, doesn't last. And as I said in last week's episode, you'll go to a doctor if you're in a physical pain. So why not when you've a mental pain? We all have our limits, and there's no shame in admitting you need a little help. So what can you do to look after your mental health? Well, here are some tips that have worked for me and other men. And I know they have, because sometimes I've given them to people, or people I've talked to have said, oh yeah, I do that, and that helps. Obviously, the first one, talk about it. Find a friend, a family member, a therapist, anyone you can open up to. Talking about your struggles does not make you weak, it makes you human. Think of it like a pressure valve. You're letting out a little steam, and suddenly things don't seem so overwhelming. Go and get some exercise. Physical activity is a great way to blow off steam and release endorphins. Plus, it's a healthy way to distract yourself from negative thoughts. And if you get ripped in the process, well, that's just a nice bonus. And don't forget to send me pictures. By the way, you don't have to join a gym. You can just go for a walk. Meditate. Now, I know sitting quietly with your thoughts sounds like torture, but meditation can help you manage stress and stay grounded. Think of it as giving your brain a little vacation. You don't have to sit cross-legged on a mountaintop or in a pyramid. You can just find a quiet spot, close your eyes, and breathe. And don't think of it as meditating. Think of this as sitting quietly and relaxing. I do this every single day. Some days I only do it for 5 minutes. Some days I do it for 30. Some days I do it for an hour. My phone is off, the telly is off, everything is off. I am alone. I am sat quiet. And it centers my thoughts and gives me some peace. Don't use alcohol as a quick fix, because they will just make things worse. And I'm not saying you have to go teetotal, but don't use alcohol to mask the issue. It's a short-term solution to a long-term problem that's just going to cause another long-term problem. Stay connected. Keep in touch with your friends and family, because social connections are crucial for our mental health. And this can be a difficult one, because I've said this, I think I said it in last week, so I know I've said it before. When I'm struggling with my mental health for any reason, I will avoid people. If I'm struggling with my body image, I will avoid people, because in my head I say to myself, they don't need to see how fat and miserable I am. What I forget, and I only learn when I finally make that contact, is that they were there for me. And if I'd have just said to them, hey, look, I'm feeling a bit down, they'd have helped. So keep in touch with your friends, and no, liking a Facebook post does not count. Find humour. Find it wherever you can. Watch a funny movie. Hang out with that friend that always makes you laugh. Listen to a comedy podcast. It's true when they say laughter really is the best medicine. The happy endorphins you get from laughing, it can be brilliant. Of course, if you have a broken rib, then I would suggest just take it easy. Remember, it's okay to not be okay. Breaking the stigma around men's mental health starts with us. We need to normalize seeking help and talking about our feelings. The more we do, the more we can change the narrative for future generations. Think about it. If we can change the conversation, maybe our brothers, our sons, our grandsons won't have to go through the same goddamn struggles we did. Maybe they'll grow up knowing it's okay to ask for help, that talking about your feelings is a sign of strength, not weakness. We often hear people say that talking about it is a sign of strength and not weakness, yet there are still people who will say that and still keep their problems to themselves because they want to conform with this new thing in society where men are supposed to be able to talk about their feelings. They want to be open and say, yeah, I'm all for that, and then they don't say a word. We need to keep on top of that and keep encouraging people to talk because it genuinely is a sign of strength. Before I go, I want to remind you that you are not alone. This is a whole community out there ready to support you. And if you're struggling, reach out. My email address is in the links. Use it if you need to. If you see a friend struggling, be there for them. Let's ditch this outdated notion that men have to be invincible, because real strength comes from acknowledging our vulnerabilities and taking steps to address them. Thank you for listening. If you've liked this episode or found it useful, why not share it with somebody? There could be something in there that helps them overcome something. There could be something in there that helps them go and get help. Go and find therapy. And to be honest, it would be great to add another number to the 12 hardcore listeners. Remember, looking after your mental health isn't just important, it's essential. Until next time, take care of yourself.